Welcome back to another video in Vedic astrology. In this video I'm going to talk to you about Justin Bieber. I don't know much about him except what I have learned from my son, who told me that he is a musician and very famous in the world. And he also told me that he got arrested on Jan 23rd, 2014 this year. And as soon as he told me that, I said maybe he is going through sound of a Saturn. He also told me that he gets the maximum number of views on YouTube, and that's not rare. But what he found rare in that was that the number of dislikes is also very huge, which is unexpected. Then I told maybe the eccentric planet Rahu is doing something in his chart. And then he gave me the date, time and place of birth, and when we did the chart, I was not surprised. One, he was going through sound of a Saturn, and on the date that he was driving his vehicle at at a very high speed for which he got arrested, the nakshatra or the star on that day in Miami was Chitra, 14th star from Ashwini, and that's the same star in which he was born. All the books of Muhurta warn us that we should be very careful while traveling during the Janma Nakshatra day. That's one of the most important tips. And second is that whenever you're going through sound of your Saturn, all these rules work more strongly than at other times. Then the next thing I noticed was that he was going through the Dasha of Rahu and the sub-period of the Moon. And Rahu and Moon, they don't get along well. But the fact remains that he got very famous in Rahu, mainly because Rahu is typically a planet that likes people to get fame and name, and that too in a very different manner. Today's world matches a lot to do with Rahu, because Rahu represents cinema and all the graphics that you see. It is the hallucinating planet. It is a planet for intoxication. Everything seems to match whatever has happened to Justin Bieber. And in this horoscope you see that the ascendant is at 5 degrees in Scorpio, and close to that is Rahu at 4 degrees. Whenever Rahu influences the ascendant so close, then it has got a very powerful or profound influence on the person. And this Rahu is negative because Rahu is Nicha, debilitated here, and obviously then Ketu is also debilitated in the 7th. So you get the 1-7 axis, which is called the house of partnership, affairs, opposite sex, and the public. On that axis of 1-7, you find the wrong axis of Rahu and Ketu. And so this person is likely to be affected by drugs and intoxication. But Rahu will also help him do a lot of creative jobs, music, and he's also into songwriting as a musician, and is also an actor. So Rahu always helps all the people in the world of music and cinema. Also supported by Venus being in the 5th house. I have written here in red the planet's position, which is there in the Rashi chart. You can see Venus is here and Mercury is here. But when I say this mark over here, it means that Jupiter shifts into the Lagna or the 1st house in the Bhava chart. I'm using equal house system in the Bhava chart. And you find that the Lord of the 5th is in the 1st house, and the 5th house is the house of music and cinema, etc. And the planet owning this house is sitting in Lagna. And apart from that, Jupiter is looking at the 5th house. And Jupiter is also the Lord of the 2nd. And the 2nd house is the house of speech, and 3rd house is the house of music. You find that the planet owning the house of music is seated in the 4th house, looking at the 10th house. And Saturn here, the planet of mass, has given rise to a Pancha-Mahapurusha yoga called Shasha yoga. This particular yoga makes a person famous and lets him have the mass appeal, which he surely does have. But interestingly, you can find that the moon is in the 12th. This is not a very good combination to have, especially because moon is the 9th lord, and the 9th lord in the 12th is not good. But the 9th is got strength and relief because Jupiter is aspecting the 9th house. The more important aspect is that he is going through Saturn, because Saturn is right now over the moon here, and Rahu is also here. So you have to watch these planets because whenever it is 7.5 year Saturn, and then the person goes through Rahu Dasha and the sub-period of the moon, it can get really bad because the moon is already in the 12th house, not only from the ascendant but also from Rahu. And that explains why the arrest happened in the sub-period of the moon. And moon is in the 12th house. The 12th house represents loss of freedom, imprisonment and losses. You can see a heavy pressure on the 4th house. The 4th house is the house of vehicles, home comforts and domestic happiness, which I'm sure he's going to have a lot of issues about this. He'll be stronger when outside of his house or home, and weaker when it comes to his own homeland or hometown or whatever we call the home. The reason for that is the 8th lord is in the 4th house, and also the 6th lord is in the 4th house. These two are bad houses, and whenever they sit in the 4th, they create some problem in the 4th house. So he is to be careful all the time with his vehicles. He can get into trouble. But you can see why he is now world famous, because there is a 4-planet conjunction which is in the 4th house, a Kendra, very powerful, and they all look at the 10th house of profession, or what is called purpose of life. But I think he's going to have a lot of issues with the marriage aspect or the partnership aspects, because Rahu and Ketu are on the wrong place, just because it is debilitated here. The strength is Venus in the 5th, because the lord of the 7th and the 5th is the Raj Yoga. I have taken this example just to prove only a few things from Vedic astrology. One, that when you are going through 7.5 year Saturn, you must be very careful all the time, and especially when the moon is, whenever the transit moon is right over your moon. And not only that, in the Ashtavarga of Saturn, Justin Bieber has got just 1 point in Libra, and that proves that 7.5 year Saturn, when Saturn is going over Libra or Tula, can really be bad. And that whenever it happens during a bad Dasha Bhukti, then surely it will work. It will be really bad, and so he has to be very careful throughout this year. And that's because Saturn is going to be here in Tula along with Rahu. Only around the end of this year, which is November 2014, he shifts to the next sign, from which he can get some sort of relief, but it's not over. 7.5 year Saturn is still not over. Rahu can make him very eccentric, can get him addicted to all sorts of things. Whenever a teenager goes through the dasha of an afflicting Rahu, so he has to be told to worship regularly. Though I feel that Jupiter, because he has his sight on the 9th, can also be a good, great believer of God and have a lot of faith in religion. But at the same time, it will be disturbed a lot by the influence of Rahu, and that means whenever he is drunk or intoxicated, he is just going to be the eccentric person that he already is. I've come to the end of this video. And if you have anything interesting to say about Justin Bieber, just add them in the comment section. So when I do the next video on Justin Bieber, I will try to accommodate those points that you have told me.